Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to work a lateral braid using a contrast color, and it will be in the round and mostly jogless. So right here was the beginning of my round, and you can kind of see that there's a weird little step here, but up here it looks pretty straight. So it just helps prevent the look of a jog, which unless you're really looking hard at it, you can't tell where it started and where it ended. So let's get started. So your first round needs to be a setup round, and that is this is where you will knit one round, but mounting your stitch backwards. So right now, my stitches are mounted correctly with the leading leg in front of the needle, right here, where you knit through. And we're mounting them backwards, that way our leading leg is in the back side. And you can see the difference in the mount of the stitches, regular versus backwards. And to do that, we're just going to knit into the stitch, and instead of wrapping the yarn around the needle counterclockwise, we're going to wrap it clockwise and pull it through. Knit, wrap clockwise, pull it through. And you'll just do that for one round. And once you have that round done, we're ready to start the lateral braid. So grab your contrast yarn and get ready to knit with it. I like to use these yarn separator. I'm not really exactly what it's called, but it really helps me with color work to knit a little bit better with my colors. Okay, so now we're going to pick up a stitch using our contrast color. So the next stitch that's on your needle, you're going to go through the center of the stitch below it and pick up a stitch with your contrast yarn and put it onto the left needle. Then what you're going to do is you're going to knit through the back loop of the second stitch on your needle. Come on. And you're going to knit it with your main color. Don't drop it off the needle yet. Go back to the first stitch and knit through the front of that stitch with your contrast color. And you'll want to make sure that your yarns are crossing here. So your contrast color is your yarns are going to twist around each other and they're going to catch each other. Make sure they're doing that, otherwise you might end up with a floating braid. So knit through the front of that stitch with your contrast color and then slip both of those stitches off the left needle. Then you will take the contrast stitch that you just knit and put it back onto your left needle. And then you'll repeat that process over and over. So you'll knit through the back loop of the second stitch on your needle with your main color. And then you will knit through the front stitch with your contrast color. And then pull both stitches off the needle. And then repeat. Bring the contrast color back to the left needle and do that over and over. So the first round, where we mounted our yarn backwards, you can see that we're knitting through the back loop with the main color on those stitches, and that just helps prevent having twisted stitches when you get done with your round. From what I've seen on other lateral braid instructions, they don't have you do that, but I don't want the twisted stitch there, so I like to mount my stitches backwards, and then you won't have any twisted stitches when you're done. And you'll want to make sure that you're not knitting too tightly on your lateral braid, otherwise it could become too tight when you put your sock on, or your mittens on, or whatever you're going to use it on. If you do find that you're having difficulty with it being too tight, I would suggest going up a needle size, and that will probably help you. Alrighty, so we're just going to keep doing this in the round. Knit through the back loop of the second stitch using your main color, and then knit through the front stitch using your contrast color, slip them both off the needles together, slip that contrast color back to your left needle, and repeat. And I will see you back at beginning of round. All right, so we're back at beginning of round and we finished our lateral braid. So now we just need to close it. I'm going to remove my beginning of round marker because it makes it a little easier. And the first thing you're going to do is the last contrast color that you just knit, add some slack to that and take it off your right needle and keep it in front of your work with your yarn in the back. Then you're going to take your right needle and from behind, you're going to insert it through the stitch below on your main color and underneath that contrast color stitch that we picked up in the beginning of the round. The stitch that we just slipped off our needle, we're going to put back onto our right needle and pull it through to the back. And then we're going to put it onto our left needle. And then from here you can reattach your beginning of round marker. And now you're onto the next round, but we have this extra stitch here. So to get rid of it, we're just going to knit them together with our main color. And then when you're done, just kind of give that stitch a little bit of a tug to release the slack. And that is how you work it. So if you want, I will show you that one more time. So we are at the beginning of round. I just removed my beginning of round marker. That contrast color, I'm just going to add some slack and take it off the needles entirely. Keep it in front. Right needle from behind goes through the center of the stitch below next and underneath that contrast color stitch that we picked up at the beginning of the round. Take that stitch that you just slipped off the needle onto your right needle and pull it through to the back side. And onto your left needle. Replace your beginning of round marker and knit two together. Pull up that slack and then continue knitting in the round with your main color onto your pattern. Then when you're done, you have a nice lateral braid and it's fairly jogless. So just like this sock here, right here was beginning of round, and you can't really tell that it's there. You can see in this row a little bit more that right here there's kind of a mini step, but it's pretty invisible, I'd say. So try it out and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.